Good morning, everybody. My name is Katie Carter. I'm the emergency response meteorologist with the National Weather Service. Today is Monday, June 1st, 2026, and it's the first day of Atlantic hurricane season. Luckily, we know that the peak is not until mid-September. Of course, that's, not to say that nothing could happen before then, certainly, but it's not unusual that we don't see much activity even on the first day of the season, which is what we're seeing today. Also, a relatively dry week ahead. We do have some very minor storm chances, but in the grand scheme of things, when we're really talking about long-term drought, even with recent rainfall, we are going to continue that pattern. So today, fairly seasonable, maybe a slight little bit cooler than normal, but only by a few degrees. It's just about on track where we should be this time of the year. We do have a cold front draped to our south that will bring the chance for an isolated storm, mainly in southwest and southeast Virginia. Severe weather is not expected, and those that do see the storms will be rather isolated and not bringing too much rainfall. The rest of us, pretty dry and also pretty sunny. Tomorrow's pattern, it brings the chance for a few isolated thunderstorms in the mountains. Again, severe weather is not expected, and these are more isolated to maybe scattered in nature if we do get a little bit of extra convection and sunshine going for us in the afternoon, but not widespread. The pattern really dries out as we have high pressure building into the area for the middle and end of the week, and then we will also turn quite warm. So we're going from seasonable to maybe a little bit cooler than normal through midweek, and then really warming up as we get to the end of the week with upper 80s and even low 90s for the weekend ahead. But Friday, we're watching the chance for sort of a very weak cold front boundary to pass through, but we're watching to see what that one might do. So as I mentioned, today's the first day of hurricane season for the Atlantic. Tropical cyclone activity not expected during the next 7 days, so that is good news for us. And just sort of a hint looking at the more mid to longer range models, sort of that 2 to even 3 week outlook, it also looks to remain pretty benign for the first few weeks of hurricane season. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it. Now, as I mentioned, today and tomorrow both bring some isolated storm chances, but we are not looking at severe storms. You'll have a rumble of thunder, maybe a quick heavy downpour, but no heavy rainfall that leads to flooding, no wind gusts that could be damaging, outside of the general thunderstorm. We could see some limbs down. But beyond that, when we really look at how much rainfall is expected, really negligible amounts. Maybe southeast Virginia could see up to a tenth, maybe a quarter of an inch for those that see a thunderstorm today. But beyond that, really quite a dry week ahead. One thing to note, I didn't put the whole statewide graphic here because this threat for just some breezy conditions is really limited to the coast. This is going to be due to it's a system that's off of the coast, not bringing us rainfall, but tomorrow we will see some gusty wind right along the immediate coastline. We're talking the eastern shore and immediate Hampton Roads area. Also, northern neck and middle peninsula might see some breezy conditions along the water. There generally will be out of the northeast tomorrow, anywhere from about 15 to 25, maybe 30 miles per hour for some of our immediate coastal locations. But inland, maybe a little bit windier than normal tomorrow, but nothing to be too concerned about. And tidal flooding, there's a chance for some nuisance tidal flooding just due to our high tide cycles being a little bit higher over the next few days, but this is very normal for this time of the year and should be no cause for concern. Just our immediate coastline, especially those low-lying areas, could see a little bit of standing water the next 2 days, those tide cycles. And even when we look at the 7-day rainfall total, it's just not looking impressive. So we're likely going to be seeing an expansion of the drought monitor when that comes out on Thursday due to limited rainfall this week. And our regional rainfall and high temperatures. Notice the next few days, about seasonable, a little bit cooler than normal, but then we see those low 90s creeping in Friday into the weekend. And our overnight lows are very mild as well, even though our overnight lows Friday through the weekend are in the 60s to low 70s. So certainly warming things up. And then some additional rain and storm chances Sunday through early next week, but this week is looking pretty dry. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook keeps things maybe a little bit warmer than normal through mid-June and about on track to maybe slightly above normal in the precip department. So this week doesn't look too wet, but hopefully we can make up for that a little bit come next week. And in terms of our space weather forecast, nothing to be concerned about for our geomagnetic storms for the next few days, but there is a possibility on Wednesday of seeing maybe a little bit active activity here, but not quite a minor storm. So possibly some weak power grid fluctuations come Wednesday, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Nothing too serious in that department either. Other than that, that is all I have for you. We'll have an email briefing sent out on Thursday, and have a great week, everyone.